I'm Penny. I'm a drawer, although I tend to draw in all sorts of mediums, mostly printmaking, screen printing and intaglio, but more recently I've discovered clay, and what I've really enjoyed about working in clay is the direct transmission of emotions. Whatever mood I'm in, it comes out in the clay. The work started only a few years ago. It probably stems from my own grief, which goes back a long way. I think it's from my experience with my first dog, which I got in my 20s, and I was very nervous about having to care for something else, especially in your 20s when you've got other things on your mind. I just got that dog and I found out that my father had brain cancer. So I quit my job, I took the dog back to my mum's house, and we looked after Dad for the last few months of his life. And that experience was made so much more significant by having that particular dog. I mean, all dogs are great, but that little dog was so perceptive. He taught me so much. He was a support, he was a comfort, he was a distraction when you needed it, but he really taught me about empathy. And it was the beginning of a roller coaster, 12 years, and he got me through all of it, and he kept teaching me lessons along the way. And I've met other dogs and I've lived with other dogs, but none of them have had that sixth sense that he had, or sometimes people call it an old soul. But he was a pretty special little guy. He got me through the next 12 years before he passed away, and then I found that pretty hard. But when I started working in clay, I started drawing on that, and because I was making work for myself and just having a play and seeing what I could do with clay, I started making dogs from memory. And in remembering those dogs and trying to formulate them in clay from memory, but it was really not so much about likeness and much more about just capturing the essence and the feelings and the memory of the feelings of those dogs. But it's very much grown into a commission-based art practice. So likeness has become much more important. And I've started more recently drawing on Staffordshire pottery spaniels. So they were typically called comforters, and they're these little ornaments for the mantelpiece. I started using that style not just because of the name comforter, which is pretty significant, but also because people were really telling me the backstory of the dogs that they were commissioning me to reproduce, and their feelings around that. And that became really important. So I was using this comforter style, although everyone is bespoke, everyone is unique, it's all hand sculpted. I'm not using any molds or anything like that. Yeah, it's very much about me as some sort of emotional medium, giving form to other people's feelings about their dogs. So I usually work from photographs, or sometimes people send me videos of their dogs. I have a really close dialogue with each person, and we really try and nut out what it is they want to express about the dog. And so it's become really important for me to try and channel how other people see their dog, not just what I'm looking at in the photograph, because we all see things differently. So that can be quite challenging to do, but incredibly rewarding when you get it right. I love the way the work is not just about dogs, but it's about connections. It's about me connecting with people via a very emotional little vehicle, this little object, but also other people connecting amongst each other using this little sculpture. I come from a family of makers. They're very practical folk, so they're good at bottling jam and good mechanics. So that was always around me, but very much growing up, whatever you did creatively was a hobby. So it took me a long time, and it really wasn't until my dogs died that I gave myself permission to go, you know what, I'm going to pursue art. I'm going to see if I've got it in me, and I'm going to see where it goes, or I'll die wondering. So went to uni, and I ended up doing honours in printmaking. And once I left uni, I was really quite lost for a while. I didn't know what to do with my art practice. There was a lot of pressure for it to be very highbrow, but it was more important for me to do something that meant something and that connected with other people. And it has taken a long time, but it was really through COVID that people picked up on what I was doing, and some very generous people promoted me and made connections for me, and it's just snowballed from there. But Instagram is a necessary evil. I've got a love-hate relationship with that, but it has connected me with an amazing following of really loyal dog lovers. It's been a way of connecting with people I would never have found otherwise. As much as I love living on Tassie, this little island, it's very hard to get your work off the island. So Instagram's been great in connecting me with the wider world, and I'm now able to send my dogs all over the world. They've gone to Japan and the UK and the US and Canada, so that's been really heartening to see. I work in my shed at the back of my house, surrounded by bush, birds, animals passing through. I've got a really beautiful outlook, which is sometimes kind of distracting. I get to walk my dogs every morning. We have a lovely long walk along the beach, then we come back, make some dogs. It's pretty blessed, it really is. Hopefully in the future I'd like to use clay as canvas, see if I can somehow incorporate my drawing more in a sculptural way, drawing on the sculptures perhaps. So I'll just see where it goes, but I love playing with different mediums and incorporating them into each other, and one thing feeds off the other, so who knows where I'll end up. But it's just a joy making these little sculptures for other people.